I saw a tall pony in a dark room. Cecilia. The stallion had dark hair covering his face and glowing yellow eyes. Cecilia. Draped in a dark cloak, the stallion looked strangely familiar as I crept curiously closer. Cecilia! I woke up with a start. Then I relaxed and rode over. Cecilia! I groaned. Yes, governess? I said as I got up. It's time for breakfast, Cecilia, said my governess's voice. Yes, ma'am, I yawned. I rubbed my eyes as I walked over to the mirror to brush my hair. As I did so, I shook my head. I had that dream again. I have it once or twice every week. But the weird thing about it is that it almost seems like a fuzzy memory more than an reoccurring dream. It almost seems like I remember it. I looked in the mirror and put on my silver locket. I smiled. It was my birthday present. It had 2 spaces, one with my father's picture inside, and the other blank. I asked my mother if her pictures had filled the other space, but weirdly, she said that I would need it someday. That answer confused me. Ever since, I had worn that locket every single day. I went downstairs to meet my smiling parents at the breakfast table. I smiled back. I loved them as much as they loved me, and maybe a little bit more. How are you doing today, Miss Cecilia? Father asked with a smile. I curtsied and said, I'm doing well, Father. Did you sleep well, dear? Mother asked as I sat down. Yes, Mother, I did. I smiled. Good, Mother said. After we had finished our breakfast, we all went our separate ways. Dad went downstairs to work on a couple of things. Dad is an assistant doctor, you see, so his job is to make medicine for the doctor of our town. He also delivers the medicine when needed, although he always made sure the delivery wasn't past 10 o'clock. I always had wondered why. Anyway, Mom went to sew some things for some kind of donation. I, however, went with my governess to learn my lessons. It was Friday, after all, and tomorrow and Sunday would be free days, so I guess it wasn't so bad. At lunch, however, Mother asked me to get some material from the store for her. I agreed as she handed me a checklist. I grabbed my cloak and basket and walked to the store. Mom had let me do this on multiple occasions, so I didn't mind the least bit. Besides, it was such a nice day outside. Probably good to get some fresh air, every now and again anyway. After I went to the store and gathered Mom's materials in my basket, I started to walk home. Now, when I go to get groceries, I take the path every pony takes, on the sidewalk. But I have found a shortcut through the alleyways to get home quicker. It is my secret passageway, and the best part is that almost no pony comes this way, so I'm pretty much safe. Walking also gives me time to think about things, especially today. I was still thinking and pondering about Dad's strange behavior. It had never bothered me as much as before. In fact, I was in such deep thought that I didn't notice the stallion coming towards me. Oof, I said as we bumped into each other. I fell over with my basket, thankfully safe on the floor. It took me only a second to realize what had happened. Oh, sir, I'm so sorry, I said as I got up and picked up my basket. As I started to look up, I said, I really am sorry for the inconvenience. I wasn't... I gasped. The towering figure over me was breathtaking enough, but that was not what had made me stop and gasp. The stallion was wearing a dark blue shirt, with his necktie hanging out, and all of this was draped with a black cloak. I looked at his face. He had a black top hat atop his head, a head of long, shaggy black hair. The colour of his fur was dark blue, and his teeth were razor sharp, as he smiled a sly smile. Besides all of these details, only one of them stuck out the most to me. His eyes. His eyes were yellow and sometimes glowing. I cocked my head as I was trying to place him. Somehow he seemed so familiar, yet at the same time I couldn't place him. He seemed craftily smile at my bewilderment. He spoke first.
"Hello,"
he said in the deepest voice imaginable as he leaned his neck to meet me at eye level. "Hello," I said back, somehow unafraid of this towering mystery. He straightened back up.
"What is a girl of your age doing in an alleyway?"
he asked, with a creepy grin on his face. "I'm going back home, sir," I said as I started to pass him. "My mom asked me to get some material for her. And I'm sorry—"
"Oh, don't worry about it,"
he said as he turned to face me. I nodded and started to leave.
"So," he started, "you're Jekyll's daughter. Am I right?"
I stopped in my tracks and looked back. He slowly looked at me with a menacing smile on his face. I turned around and said, "Yeah? Why?" He turned around as well and said slowly with a smirk,
"I just want to see how old Henry was doing. It's been so long since I've talked to him."
"You and Dad are friends?" I asked, cocking my head.
He chuckled and said, "Oh, yes. Henry and I go way back. You might even consider us closer than brothers."
He chuckled again. I wondered why, but I didn't bother asking. "I'll let Dad know that you're in town. I'm sure he would love to see an old friend of his," I responded happily. He smiled again.
"I'm sure he would be delighted,"
he said in a creepy, happy sort of way. Somehow, through all of this, I kind of liked him. And also somehow, I was unafraid of him. "Well, I'm afraid I have to go. Mum will be wondering where I am," I said.
"Oh, so soon," he said slyly as he got closer. "But we were having the most delightful conversation. Can't we talk a little longer?"
I sighed and said, "I'm sorry, sir. I'm just as late as it is. The governess will be worried about me. And besides, next week is my last week of school. Mom needs this material to sew with as soon as possible, so I'd best get going." He looked a little disappointed, but soon covered it with another smile.
"Very well,"
he said. "Goodbye, sir," I said as I trotted off.
"Goodbye, Cecilia,"
he said, with his voice going lower at the last bit. "Wait!" I stopped. I started to turn around. "How did you know my—" He was completely gone. I stood there for a moment, staring at the place where he had been. But then I shook my head and turned around to walk home, just then realizing why that stallion had been familiar to me.